Fuck, man.
I'm a superhero. Not the kryptonite, no! It's in my eyes!
Kryptonite! Oh, good
I'm
gravy.
gonna find Lex Luthor, and I'm gonna beat his ass until he piss blood!
See, Nick Cage would have killed Luther. I'm just saying.
Want to ring the bell?
I'm taking it back. I'm taking them all back.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
I'm a loner, Daddy. Rebel.
I am the walrus.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to John Hates Movies, the movie review podcast where my friends prevent me from giving them 12th or 14th billing when they're the main characters in my podcast, and instead force me to watch movies. This week, we have with us Eric Largent.
Dun, 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 dun. Tally ho! Tally ho! Tally oh!
Bit of a stretch. We have Chris Arsenault.
Chuck Norris and Superman had an arm wrestling contest. The loser had to wear their underwear on the outside.
And we have James Barrup.
John, can you read my mind?
Oh, Jesus. I knew that was coming up at some point. Everybody knows about that. All right. For those of you who are curious, I mean, I don't know how you could be, but if you're curious about what we watched Superman, the movie.
Oh,
that's right.
Oh.
Mild-mannered reporter Clark Kent must summon his superhero alter ego when the nefarious Lex Luthor launches a plan to take over the world.
That's not... No, wrong!
Yeah, that's not at all descriptive. He's not mild-mannered. He's a bitch.
And Lex is not trying to take over the world. He's trying to earn money, cash money.
Yeah.
He's a businessman. Let's face it.
You don't put that kind of description on a superhero movie. This is like, well, actually, Superman decided to just become Superman because he wanted to, and
he found the suit. Figured he'd go with it.
So, starring Marlon Brando, I guess, Gene Hackman, and Christopher Reeve, and it was directed by Richard Donner.
You know, Brando demanded first billing.
Oh, I know.
Like, he also demanded 11% of the take from the box office.
Did he really?
Yes, and
Brando,
sued Warner Brothers after the movie because he didn't think he got it.
This was 100% like during Brando's bitch years.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
he was done working.
Yeah.
But he was not done getting paid.
Yeah, he was done working. He was not done making money. Yeah.
All right. Well, as is John Hates Movies tradition, the person who picked the movie gets to review it first, which is me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I understand that this movie has some problems.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't, John. You tell him.
All right. It does have some problems, but you can skip past those parts.
Yeah, it's the first half hour.
No. Well, I mean,
I don't know, guys. The first half hour might have been my favorite part.
The first half hour has some good in it. I mean, first off, it's got Zod, Terrence Stamp, you know, Neil before him. Hell yeah. But I mean, actually, what it comes down to is that this movie, at least for me, is very important. This is probably kind of my Star Wars. This was the movie that launched my foray into geekdom. Which basically defines pretty much me now. And Superman still, to this day, is my favorite superhero. And I think it's all from this movie. It has some amazing performances in it. Christopher Reeve is astounding in this.
I will give you that. Christopher Reeve is really good.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, he's good in everything I've seen him in.
Is there a more, is there a better definition of who Superman is than the Christopher Reeve Superman? Is there a
No.
better definition of like who everybody's like in their mind? Christopher Reeve is the Superman, right?
Exactly.
Like,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, and there's really no way. I mean, there has been some close approximations.
I forget the name of the guy that was in Superman Returns.
Brandon Routh.
Yeah.
Right, Brandon Routh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Routh. Like they just tried to recast Christopher Reeve again, and
Yeah.
that's how they landed on him because
Mhm.
He looks a lot like Christopher Reeve.
yeah,
Not quite the same like level of physical ability in his acting.
Yeah. And doesn't quite have the same presence, doesn't have the same... Actually, he didn't bring some of the same stuff to the character. The closest we've ever gotten to this kind of quality of performance with Superman is the guy who did a couple episodes in the new Supergirl series.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
yeah, that seemed legit. I haven't watched that because it's not something that I'm into, but it seemed
Right.
legit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was very, very damn close to what we got in these Superman movies.
It's like somebody actually understood the character.
Yes. Now, there are plot issues in this movie.
No.
There's some goofiness in this movie. The special effects are
Perfect.
excellent for their time,
Wow.
but they don't
Better
age
than Jurassic
very
Park,
well.
would you say?
I would not say that.
James, do not piss on Stan Winston's grave. That is not
Yeah.
allowed.
I'd say they're better than Harry Hauser.
Yeah. I even okay, John. Honestly, I love the movie, but even that's a stretch.
Okay. So yeah, there's some weak spots in here. A lot of weak spots, and you could go in here and pick it apart. And I'm sure some of us on this podcast will.
We all
But I'm
turned to
not
look
gonna-
at Chris, and he's just smiling.
But I'm not going to do that. And the reason I'm not going to do that is because every time Superman saves Lois Lane from that helicopter and she asks him who he is and he says a friend, I get a little teary.
got a friend in me.
I just get I get like, yeah, actually that's pretty appropriate. I get Toy Story teary during this movie. So, I mean, this is the one that does it for me. I know it has problems. I'm realistic. It probably does not hold up. But the one thing that they get right out of anything, out of all the new movies in the Justice League, the one thing that they get right, which is the most important thing, is Superman. They get him right in this. They understand him in this, and they treat him fair. And that's really all I can ever ask for a Superman movie. Say what you will about the new ones. The new ones,
The new one, Superman's the problem in those movies.
the new ones, Superman is the problem, and I hate the way that they treat him. They have their good spots and their bad spots too. Personally, I feel that they're mostly bad.
Yeah,
Just like
I
this.
rewatched. Sorry to break in. I rewatched Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice the other day, and so I saw it in the theater, and I like fucking hated it in the theater. But when I rewatched it with like lowered expectations, I was like, this is fine. Like, this is a fine movie. Like, there are parts that definitely like they just like put the brakes on the action and like have conversations in the middle of the movie, but
Yeah,
it's and Superman's just wrong, but
Mhm.
it's not the worst movie. I don't know. That's
Is not.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with a lot of these comic book films, is that these comic book films are made for a general audience, and that's who they're made for. They're not made for the people like me and James and anyone else who grew up with these characters and may have a special relationship for them. They are not for us. We think they are because they show up with our character, with the characters that we want to see.
No, there are characters.
And-
Fuck those guys.
Yeah, and we think, and we've seen enough of them that do decent treatment of it, of these characters, specifically the Marvel movies, but they're not for us. They're for the people. Everybody
Yeah, they're for
who
everyone
makes
else,
money.
really.
And they're for China,
Yeah.
who have no relationship with these characters whatsoever, but like to watch our movies. I think when it comes down to it, this original Superman is probably the best treatment of the character outside of the comic books that I'm going to see in my lifetime.
For China. Superman Churia.
There is a Chinese Superman, actually. And
Super
he's in the
Mandarin?
comic books right now. No, it's not Super Mandarin. I don't remember. I think he's actually just called Superman, but he's an Asian from China.
Super Fu Manchu.
No. Anyway, that's basically my review, though. I love this movie. It's great. I realize it has its problems. It does not really hold up well.
Super sweet and sour chicken.
There's not even a man in there.
Super sweet sour chicken. Man.
There you go. Jesus.
So stupid.
There we go, folks. That's my review. My review is apparently Chinese food. So
We haven't eaten.
John, I know you've got more to say about this movie, but we can kick it around a little bit. You can bring us home at the end too if you want.
I'll bring us home. Bring us home at the end if it needs to. But this is one of those things where this movie means so much to me, and I love this movie so much. I'm actually more interested in seeing what it did for you guys who may not have this childhood investment into this movie that I do.
I certainly don't. But like Lex Luthor is kind of, so he's not at all sinister in this movie, or at least he doesn't come across very sinister, even though I guess he does want to kill a bunch of people. That's that's secondary to what he's really doing, is just trying to make some money off some land.
Mm-hmm.
Which seems like, for someone who's supposed to be like super smart, I mean, seems like the stupidest fucking plan.
What are you talking about? It's the best plan. It's a tremendous plan. He's smart. He went to a really good school. People don't understand how smart he is.
And he wouldn't even let Otis have his city.
I
His
know.
small city.
Otisburg.
Otisburg.
That was great.
I'll just erase it.
Otisburg.
You know what? There is one thing I do have to say about one more thing that I have to say about this. My favorite John Williams score,
Oh yeah.
like hands down, my favorite John Williams
So-
score. Otis's theme makes me laugh every fucking time.
Yep. I was kind of shocked by how close this score was to the Star Wars score.
Right.
Like it has the same beats and like movements in the score itself, like in the main like fanfare score.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like different notes, but it's played like the songs are very similar.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
sometimes when I'm like humming it to myself at home, I will go into the Star Wars song without even realizing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I Dream of Jeannie and the Witch.
Right. Well, they have
I thought you were gonna go into like Indiana Jones for a second there.
Bum,
Bum, bum, bum, bum, bum, bum, bum. Use the force clock.
Yeah.
So yes.
Chris, I feel like we should get like a counterpoint, like just
Yep.
laid down right off the bat here.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm
Might
pretty
as
sure
well.
that after you, that me and Eric will probably just riff. All right, everybody,
Okay.
step back. He's about to drill a hole in this thing.
He's charging up.
Yeah.
Just like Superman does when he spins and goes
I
down.
have not. I'm trying to think the last movie that I sat through that I had to make this many notes. That like I wrote like 3 pages in the first 20 minutes, and then just started looking up stuff on Christopher Reeves because it was the movie was frustrating me so much.
Wow.
So here's my thing. One of the, especially in the beginning, but honestly throughout the movie, there are a lot of very poorly expositioned scenes. Like, it's like, here's the scene. We're not going to explain it. Now we're over here. We're not going to explain it. Now we're over here. We're not going to explain it. But I'm not there yet. Because the credits are still rolling for 5 fucking minutes.
Oh, dude. Oh, my God. You gotta be fucking kidding me with that shit. Why did
Fucking
they do that?
bullshit.
That's a bad choice.
Also, we were discussing this before the podcast that whatever the deal is, like, the audio quality for in the film, like, is bad.
that
Like,
could have just been the
score,
Netflix upload
maybe,
that they
but
did.
like that
yeah.
score is amazing. I will give it that. But it sounded like super tinny in this version, and it seemed like really underwhelming. I mean, that song is, that score is classic. I'll give you that. I'm not gonna, pop a squat on that. That's not where I'm going with it.
That's
But
not
this-
the hill you're dying on.
I do have a question.
Sure.
And this is for the group. Because I was struggling through the credits myself, and I was trying to remember if movies in the 70s, if front loading the credits was a thing then.
Yes.
Okay.
For a long period, front loading the credits was a thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
but they weren't this long.
Not always, but a lot were. And the only difference is it actually something that held pretty well, but not necessarily as much as just doing credits. What you tended to see is like some like action or movement going on like background while it was introduced in credits, so you don't realize how
Gotcha.
long they're going.
Yeah.
Right.
But probably one of the other worst offenders was Star Trek movies. They love to front load the
Oh
credits.
yeah.
And if I
Like
can't,
the-
if you notice, this was a very Star Trek-y intro.
Guess what else I've never seen?
There you go.
Any
seen
of the
this-
old Star Trek movies.
We're not
Whoa.
going there. We're not going there. That is an entirely new bus. I'm not getting on that. So we're like 5 minutes and 30 seconds into the movie. We're 30 and we're finally past the credits. And all I can think is Jor-El should have taken the deal. You're making a huge mistake. And we see the classic hula hoop prison that no one escapes from, apparently. And then you see this massive dome release above them, and all I can think is, man, the council in its entirety must have one shared tiny dick. They're compensating. It just seems so haphazard to trap prisoners into a floating space mirror. But I love their light up outfits.
Oh yeah.
Nothing shows how awesome you are when it's a whole room of people you can't look directly at.
I think that's like part of the small dick thing. They didn't want anybody
Right?
to look at it.
Don't notice that I have no bulge.
We all wear glowing loose robes. Very loose and very bright.
And I find it really hard to believe that undeniable scientific data, as the council themselves states it, could have a both "will be fine" and a "we're all going to explode" conclusion with no gray space.
It's kind of happening in real life
I think
right
we're
now.
doing that right now with global warming, you man.
But we're not going to explode in 30 days.
Well, maybe 30 years.
But that's not like we're not on the precipice of death right now. Like
That
next
we know
week
of.
might not be our end. Well, maybe we're being lied to by the council as well. And it
That's
just
weather.
begs the question: is Jor-El just a shit scientist, or is everyone else a complete fucking moron?
Both.
It
And
sounded like there was an awful lot of hubris floating around over there.
right,
Yeah.
and I love that it's just the planet shifting orbit. I know on Earth, if our orbit shifts, it's a pretty terrible fucking thing. Like if we're tidal waves, burning, people in Florida just incinerate.
Hey, can we shift the planets? I mean, I'm just saying
It's kind of a big deal.
Is it a possibility? I'm just thinking forward to 2020 here.
But obviously, it's not an issue to do drastic things to a planet, but I'll get to that.
James is trying to eradicate the South.
But I'm still in maybe the first 8 minutes of the film yet. And I'm trying to figure out what kind of police state they live in that they won't let him just leave. Don't incite a riot, but fucking leave. Let him go. He doesn't want to be there. He thinks bad things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And the fact, and that
Seriously, he
their
should have been
planet
able
is
to just
literally
leave.
on the
Okay.
precipice of being exploded to hell, and no one's like, everyone's like, listen to the council, only the council gets the thing.
Hey.
And I do love that he manages to, like, you know, build his own loophole. Neither I nor my wife shall leave.
Right. Why did jack up his wife like that? No, I mean, okay. So,
Yeah, tell that to a West German.
all right.
And
What
he
I'm-
asks,
what I'm-
do you not cherish life? But I question, it depends on how you cherish life.
What I'm trying not to do, and first off, I'm trying not to rebut every little point that you have because they're all accurate and they're all right. Okay, so let's lay that out on the table.
Sure.
Secondly, I'm also trying not to bring anything to the movie that wasn't
In the movie.
specifically told.
Right.
And when
James.
Hey, I'm going from the Donner cut.
We didn't watch the Donner cut!
I watched
And-
the Donner Party.
when
I
when I saw
that
they
here
had
is me.
delicious food.
Sorry.
when I
John,
saw
go
that
ahead.
screen, when I saw that scene, I struggled with that too, because I know what they were going for there, but they did not communicate it well.
No.
Yeah.
But there is a specific. If anybody's curious, there's a specific reason why Jor-El was not allowed to leave.
I'm sure there was, but yeah, they did not. Anyway.
Yes.
So, turns out, though, that place is not very baby friendly, and it was
No.
probably better that they fired him off in a rocket. It's got to be much safer.
Like a little spiky space
Also,
probe.
luckily, they
Space
know
booger.
every possible thing that's going to happen to him on Earth, that he's going to have super strength and be able to fly and all that stuff. Apparently, they're very aware that they're like within like a short distance of a planet where they could literally be fucking gods, and they choose not to.
That's yeah.
All I know is if I was a rocket ride away from becoming virtually a god, I'd take that ride.
Now, see, what you didn't see when Superman was flying through the inky blackness at almost the
I'm
speed
not
of light.
even there yet, James.
What you didn't
He
see
hasn't
was the
even
snail
left the
escaping from
planet.
Krypton.
Hold on. Yeah.
That's why he couldn't go back.
Right. Yeah. And then we get this great speech from Dad, because kid's totally gonna remember that, and you're not gonna die, so it's not like there's no proof that you really cared about your son in case one. Anyway, all I can send you. He sends him like a little shard. I'm just saying, what a cheap bastard.
Little space USB stick.
Yep.
Yep.
Cool. It's cool. It's got my mix. My party. It's got my party mix on it.
I spit fire on this one track.
No.
You won't even believe it.
Obviously, he kept his cut his mixtape because it blew up.
Yeah, Krypton blew up because I dropped so many bombs on the track.
Ships launching, glass everywhere, super not well thought out, terrible, breaks the glass ceiling. There's the joke in there somewhere. I'm not gonna say it though. And then, like, seriously, it goes from like rumble, suddenly people are falling down into like giant crevasses, and then boom! It fucking escalated quickly. And I'm just saying, from we'll be fine to like we're gonna be dead in 30 days because of exploding planet thing. I'm actually thinking that everyone else is the moron. Good on you, Jor-El. But also the stupidest intelligent species. Then I have this awesome note that says, Jesus, how long is this fucking trip? Because he goes from being a infant to like an 8-year-old boy. I know he's probably only like 4 or something like that.
Yeah,
but
he's
long
like
story
4.
short, he grows.
Yeah.
And which is all right, whatever. But it's
Space is big.
yeah, it's forbidden to interfere with human history. Becomes a superhero. I know if I find a smoldering crater and there's a child in it, I'll just keep it and not say anything to anyone.
Hey.
Like before they even like kind of connected, he's not from this planet. Like they just found this child in the field. They're like, no, I've prayed for a child. It is mine now.
Hey, it worked in Children of the Corn. And what did Clark land in? A cornfield.
Oh shit.
So
Actually, I think it was
they are
wheat.
going by corn law.
It was a wheat field, and in wheat law, that's not the case. And then we just skip some time because fuck that. We're like,
I mean, that's
He's 18 now.
I mean, that's
And
the whole TV show Smallville is
Right.
what happens. Then.
Right, yeah. It fills in the gaps that this movie doesn't. But like I said, it just this movie just decides you need to be here now. We're not going to tell you we're here. We're just going to go there, and you're going to be good with it.
Right.
And then we get the great line, "Oh, Brad." Sorry, that one made me laugh. Anyway, and then we find out that Clark's just kind of a huge bitch. His dad gives him a half-ass speech, and then Clark kills his father. And then conveniently, right after the death of his father, whom he killed,
Jonathan, you have a weak ticker. Oh, it's all right. I'm just gonna run around the yard with a
come on, Dad, race me. And then, out of mere convenience, the ship calls to him.
Here, Dad, eat. After you eat these cheeseburgers and bear claws, let's go for a fucking swim.
Right? The ship calls to him. He finds a tiny lightsaber. And then he does what, anyone who, he just, his father just died. So naturally he abandons his mother.
Like you do.
And then this is where, this is where I start feeling that the movie is really overscored. Like, the music starts, I realize throughout the rest of the movie, I know movies have music throughout them, but I realize, they wanted the score to be integral to it.
Yes.
To almost an overwhelming point.
Yes.
Especially when he's standing there with his mother saying he's going to leave. He's telling her he's leaving, not really giving any reason, just accepting it. And it starts giving this, I'm supposed to be inspired by his decision to leave. And I'm like, no, he's kind of bitching out, but whatever. He needs to find himself. I'll give him that one, but that is not inspire music. That's should be a sad lilt.
Try to imagine how absurd this movie would be without music.
Oh, way worse.
Like this movie would be unwatchable without the music.
Probably.
I feel like.
But like I said,
because the music tells you how you need to feel about all the different scenes.
But like I said, especially that one, it's just you're acting something but telling me something else. Anyway, and then he walks to the Arctic because that's what you do. Apparently, the little green USB lightsaber that his dad gave him was actually made by Capsule Corps. Because he throws it and it blows up into a whole, habitat.
Nice little fortress.
Habitat / learning pod, because he's apparently there for 12 fucking years. That's what it says. You've been gone from this for 12 years, blah, blah. And it was the weirdest montage because nobody worked out.
No training montage. Yeah.
Not sure.
It was a learning montage.
That's bullshit. And frankly, I'm pretty sure Learn from Crystals My Dad Left is not an accredited educational institute.
It's okay. On his CV, he put Trump University. So
right. Well, and then out of nowhere, suddenly he's in his super suit.
Yep.
It's no explanation. It's he didn't work up to it, but then they have the perfect opportunity for him to work up to it, like you see in some of the newer, probably the best thing ever that I'll give it, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. He tries to go out. No, this is the only thing I feel decent. He throws on some tights and a ski mask and tries to do stuff. You know, and granted, he escalates to his suit way too quick. But it's one of those. He's just trying to sort this shit out. He just doesn't. I have a super suit. I'm a superhero now. He throws on some fucking workout pants and a ski mask and goes out and tries to figure out if he's even up to this.
He puts the super suit together that we would all put together.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah,
whatever was in your drawers.
Suit.
Yeah. Buys the. Oh my God. Lois sucks at spelling for a fucking print journalist.
I love that.
That is the worst fucking thing. However, we soon get the best joke in the whole movie when they have the close shot of him running towards the phone, and then it reveals it's just one of those phones on a stick.
Yeah.
And it's not a phone booth. I loved that. That made me so happy.
My favorite joke of the whole movie is rapist only has one P.
Yeah, that was
I thought
awkward.
Darrell and the baddest rappist.
Dropping bombs on the fucking track.
Well, you notice like later on when the chick is talking to Lex, she prefaces a statement to him with, "I know I'm going to get socked in the mouth, but."
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, there's some stuff that doesn't fly
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
And what we learn after at this point, we start to realize that pilots in this movie are really bad. Also,
I mean, it was the
was
70s,
it
weren't they
me
all?
or did the little girl get slapped?
Yes.
Oh, she
for
got
lying?
slapped. She got
Okay,
slapped.
because yeah, it's
Yep.
like blah, blah, I told you not to lie, and then you hear a,
Yeah.
Yep.
but you don't see it in the shadow. I'm like, that's fucked up. Where were you there, Superman?
Yeah, exactly. He'll save kids. I mean, he'll save kittens from trees,
then Air Force One loses an engine. The wing was there, but they're like, oh, we lost half the wing. It was there, but apparently they can't fly it anymore. And they're supposed to be like the best pilots we have. But again, we learned about 10 minutes earlier that every pilot in this movie is junk. However, that is my favorite part of this movie. The when he decides to be
An engine?
I mean like when he decides to like start acting the
Helping
superhero. That whole
Yeah.
montage, that is honestly my favorite part of this whole movie. That was super awesome, super enjoyable, and it was kind of goofy when he decided to play, be the engine, and then we have the most sane part of the entire movie in the line, "Don't look, just fly."
Yep.
Then
something.
we discover that apparently Lois is either whoring or selling drugs on the side because that is way too good of an apartment to have in a city like that on a print journalist's salary.
I don't know. Those were
And-
a big deal back then.
Yeah, back then, yeah.
She did have a lot of locks on the door, which suggested that there was some contraband inside.
Mhm.
Or it could have been in a bad area and she just got a really good deal.
She's Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
She's not Breaking Bad.
And then my notes just kind of go away because, like, I was starting to get annoyed with the movie, and I was just looking up stuff on Christopher Reeve. And
were you starting to get annoyed with the movie right at the poetry part, Chris?
I stopped really paying attention. It was on in the background. I started doing dishes, and
That's my game.
I was just flipping through stuff on Wikipedia about Christopher Reeve, and then I was actually the movie's playing. I'm like watching speeches and like interviews with him as the movie's playing because my notes literally don't pick up till he just untectonicked those plates.
Which, yeah.
Yep.
But to be honest with you, I really didn't like Lex as like the villain in this. Like he didn't seem super villainy. It seemed really, really lame. Like, I tricked him into opening a box. The whole thing there, like, we've already established that to the mortal man on Earth, Superman is a god. And it just seems super ludicrous that out of just random, he's super smart, just random, deduction. I don't know. He's like, I'll just buy meteorites and shit and steal them. And I'm totally going to find the right thing that's going to be the weakness. Like, seriously, like, if he had just ended up with a fucking moon rock, I mean, Superman could have, like, given him the dick punch from hell.
Right, like he's just got a moon rock
Right?
on a chain.
It's just so
It's like,
terrible.
what, am I supposed to be afraid of this?
So, I mean,
Just knocks him
obviously, the lesson learned there is Superman just should have killed Luthor from the get-go. Would result a lot of things. Now, if you can... I'm just going to skip past pretty much the rest of it because that's kind of what I ended up doing with the movie because I was just so... I got the highlights of it.
He completely Jeff Goldblumed like the Superman's weakness.
Right. Let's skip to the end here. So, like, if you can turn back time...
If you could find a way.
Right?
Would you take back all the words that would hurt you?
And would you stay?
If you could reach the stars? Would you give them all to me?
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. But if you're going to spin the world backwards, you're not going to go back in time. You're just going to kill everyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Superman kills everybody.
The reality
Tried
of
to save,
this,
like,
we
some
have the perfect ending to the movie in Lois dying to a Superman 2, because it would end Superman as the perfect supervillain origin story. He becomes so irate with anger that he just starts taking it out on the world.
Yeah,
perfect.
no.
Fucking perfect.
No.
And
No.
he can be a supervillain because he's actually supervillain
you
man.
had-
SVM.
You had me and you lost me.
Well, because I can't stand on the he turns back time and resolves things, because if and when he did that, he also undid all the saving he did.
Right, like, so now the
Instead
dam
of like
collapses,
Lois
and
dying,
like they blow up
thousands of people die.
Hackensack, New Jersey.
Yeah, they can all go fuck themselves.
That's not how
That's
it works.
what that's what Superman believes in.
No,
People
because-
can
okay.
die if they're not.
You
if he
know,
doesn't know
okay,
them.
that's a part that I'm going to have to interject on, because
Which part of
you
it,
know in the part about him undoing all his saving, because you know that that didn't happen because Jimmy Olsen is alive. Because if he
Right, it's
undid the
bullshit.
dam, no,
Yes,
no,
because he was like pushing all those rocks over while her shit was like crushing.
Exactly.
But he turned it back before the car even collapsed into the stuff, so he never would have done the rock shit.
no, he did.
Actually-
he did do the rock
Actually,
shit.
give me a second here.
He did.
Maybe
do the
for
rock
a
shit.
short time there was two Supermans.
Exactly.
I just realized you're right. No, you are correct. There were two Supermans.
Yes.
Yes.
But
No.
what's weird is that the first Superman would have still had to run across dead Louis
and
Lane
show
to-
up.
Yes.
Right. I
Yeah.
mean, we create a paradox, but let's just settle it with there are two Supermen, and they're both bitches.
End of review.
Does it for me.
All right.
The Jeff Goldblum thing. Superman, mannequin. Mannequins are made of wood. When wood gets old because he traveled several light years, it petrifies. It becomes rock. Rock from his home planet would be called kryptonite, would be a meteorite. His weakness is rocks.
It's a rock solid plan.
Awesome.
I don't know.
Who's next?
Yeah. All right, so yeah, I go next. First off, everything you said was wrong.
That is incorrect, James.
Wrong. No, that's an old joke from a different Superman movie. First off, I got to say I don't know what any of you guys are talking about.
Hey.
Ah.
You
Good
guys
for
didn't
you.
mention anything about fucking Peter Parker or fucking Spider, radioactive Spider.
Come on.
All I caught was Superman, so I watched the Superman movie.
Man movie.
Superman movie.
Sman.
I
Sman.
was close.
Man.
Superman. I had an S and a P and a man. I was close enough.
Fair enough.
Review whatever you want.
Yeah. Me and John grew up watching these movies, and yeah, we loved them as little kids for different reasons than we like these movies now.
So I just actually want to say one thing, because
Yeah.
John said that he's always loved these movies and blah, blah, blah. I've always disliked these movies. Always. Even when I was younger, I've never liked them.
That's interesting.
Not going to throw hate out till I watched it today, but I disliked them. Now I hate it.
Right.
So, okay. Obviously, of course, when me and John were little kids in the Stone Age, the superhero movies, the options that we had
Were nothing.
were
Yeah.
scant. I mean, I remember the trailer for Tim Burton's Batman movie coming out, and that being a big fucking deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I was old enough to be conscientious of that. So, I mean, like, yeah, this was like the only thing that actually like treated superheroes with a bit of respect. And honestly, I mean, I watched this movie. Like I said, I watched the Donner cut when that was released, like back in 2004 or 6 or something like that. And I was like, holy shit, this movie actually holds up. Like, I was really not expecting that, because, well, like most of the movies I'd have loved when I was a kid are fucking trash. But
But would you say the movie we watched held up?
I will say that unfortunately the Donner cut explains it fixes a lot of the issues with the theatrical cut.
Okay.
Because it explains a lot more. And like you said, like how like there's like little
So
cuts.
it would have been like 4 hours long?
No, actually it's like I think it's
This movie was long.
yeah.
Yes.
It's long, but honestly, like the Donner cut is not only does it have like a little more in it, but it's also cut better.
Okay.
So
All right,
like
you know what? I got to get this shade in. Yes, this movie was long. It was 2.5 hours long, but
No,
it
it's 2
certainly
hours
did
long.
2.5.
It's
2.5.
more
It's
than
like 2 hours
2:15.
37 or something like that.
But it doesn't feel as long as Mad Max.
shade.
That's shade. I don't know, man. This movie does feel long.
Honestly, okay, I'll say this. It feels long in the beginning, but honestly, like it has such a good atmosphere in the beginning that I don't mind it. But once this movie actually like starts going and stuff like that, it clips along fairly fast. I really don't mind that. Yeah, and I fucking love Christopher Reeve's performance. It still blows my mind that you can go back and watch Superman 1 and 2.
I apologize. 2 hours and 23 minutes.
Yeah, see? No. But nonetheless, I think that like the Donner is maybe like 10 minutes longer or something. It's not like super duper longer, but in those
I can tell you one thing. There is nothing that would get me to rewatch. Even if it's explain it better.
well, that's fine. I mean, hey, if you never liked it to begin with,
It's true.
yeah, so
But I don't even like Superman. So.
yeah. So let me be your guide into what the fuck. Like, okay, so you know how like a lot of the cuts in this were like jarring and stuff, and I
Yeah.
noticed that like 'cause when I was watching this,
Mhm.
like okay, in the Donner cut, they do not actually open with the curtains and the bit about the Daily
Mhm.
Planet. It opens straight up on Krypton. Yeah, like the Krypton set and everything like that. Like that was fucking sweet. I still love it. Like the scale and everything, it looks awesome. Still looks awesome. There's a scene where he's in the Fortress of Solitude and stuff, and he starts talking to Jor-El for the first time and stuff, you know? And first off, that's like one of the really big errors in this is the fact that Jor-El says, well, I've been dead for thousands of years now. Well, yeah, because Superman was traveling near the speed of light for 5 years to get to Earth. It was like about 5 light years away. So, time dilation, Superman would have grown much slower than everybody else. Yeah, you know.
Don't give me the interstellar shit.
But, well,
I
nonetheless,
don't even know if they knew about that shit back in like 80 and 78.
Don't care.
yeah, I know. No, I'm just saying the major plot hole is that the fucking kryptonite wouldn't have reached him, and him looking for something in 1940 something because that's when Krypton blew up.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
no.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they'd still be waiting like another like 10,000 years for the kryptonite to actually reach Earth.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. So anyway,
You don't know. It's kryptonite.
Yeah. I mean, it's a movie about a flying dude in
His underwear.
blue spandex, so I need my science to be on point.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. He's in there. Like the transition to the learning montage is not as jarring.
Is the
they
learning montage better?
It is better because what you see is like Superman suspended in like a tube. Like,
Yeah, because I was wondering what the hell he was doing that whole time. If he was like, just like, I rigged this Fortress of Solitude with super sweet VR.
yeah, like literally, I
You
can
just see him with like a VR headset.
Yeah.
Like,
like a lawnmower man. You will know the birth of Superman because every phone in the world will ring at once.
or like the education pods from Venture Bros. This is the beds.
But either way, like a tube like lifts up from the ceiling or bottom, and
Sure.
like he's in suspended animation, so you know what the fuck's going on.
Sure.
And then it comes down, and he's in his suit, and then he takes off and flies. So like he's learned all about himself.
So now
and all
he's
that shit.
30 and his parents are still dressing him.
Yes, that's a good one. I like that. I get such a kick watching this movie, and it has everything to do with like all the charm that just like oozes from Superman in this movie. Like when he meets Lois Lane and stuff like that, and she's like, "Oh, do you have a girlfriend?" And he's like, well, if I did, you'd be the first to know about it. And like he gives her this look, and he's like kind of like biting his thumb a bit, but he's in pajamas.
It looks good.
I know.
But that's Christopher Reeve.
Exactly. You're like,
He was fantastic.
even Leslie was like, oh.
Although, sorry, because you remind me of something. When he flips back to Clark, after that whole thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then he's like doing I realize how much he
Like
hunches.
he hunches over
Yes.
a lot.
Because like he stands up and like, I know he's tall, but god damn, that guy's tall.
Yeah,
and he
huge.
looked like just his posture changed, like just
It changed your
visually.
complete perception.
Yes, it is, and that's that small thing. Like I said, I think Christopher Reeve did so well.
Yep. So, like, yeah, that's another point I want to bring up because, I've done cosplay and I dress up as I have dressed up as different superheroes and stuff. I know exactly how well certain costumes work at actually protecting your identity. There's things that you think would work that actually don't. Like, I mean, if you have your chin exposed, you might as well just fucking give up. Like, people will know who the fuck you are if they know you.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of that is just body language.
Mm-hmm.
When people are like, oh, it's so stupid. Nobody, he takes off his glasses and that's his costume.
Well, that's 'cause almost every other Superman portrayal has only been that. The only difference seems to be that. But like I said, that's what was awesome about Christopher Reeve.
He did. He changed his
completely-
physicality.
Yep.
Yes, I
Big
was
time.
going to use the word physicality too.
Completely and 100%. And that, like, is honestly, like, a great commentary on human nature that we just tend to
You
see.
can do that Kill Bill thing, where Clark Kent's a commentary on humans, whereas Superman is just being Superman, but he dresses up as a human, as this weak, sniveling, kind of like little bit of a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not,
So
whatever.
you agree Clark Kent is a bitch and therefore Superman's a bitch.
There's debate on that. I mean, that's one philosophy on him, but no, for me, it's more like, people tend to judge us by how they perceive us.
Yeah.
And yes, just taking off your glasses can work if people see you as one thing and then you act as something completely different.
Look, Captain Amazing doesn't wear glasses. Lance wears glasses.
If he's Captain Amazing, how does he see?
That's one of my favorite superhero movies.
All right, so
What movie is that?
Mystery Man.
Okay,
Yeah.
I thought so.
I thought that was from the Tick TV show.
No,
live
that's
action.
Mystery Man. Yeah.
Okay.
Greg Kinnear.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love him.
yeah.
It's a great,
That's a
great
good movie.
Yeah, it
But
is.
no, you do remind me of something else. If you had Superman's powers, and we covered this on Unbearable,
Right.
you'd be Bo Jackson, pretty much.
Yeah.
You'd play every sport and you'd be the best at each one.
Right. Yeah.
I'd just go to like a coal plant and just start making diamonds or something. I would find a way to make money and be like, oh, you need somebody to like fix up the Fukushima plant? Yeah, $1 million, I'll do it. Otherwise, see ya. I've got video games at home. But but here's the point. If you got like all those powers, it would be fucking fun.
I'm not
to use them.
saying that's not true. The worst part would be not using them. Which is
Exactly.
what Superman does.
When
Not
Superman
use
is
them.
Superman, he can like it's like getting out of a long car ride. You can stretch your legs, Like for once, he can actually like be himself and kind of enjoy it and stuff. And yeah, he gets attention, and it feels great to get attention. And I don't know. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe he just needs to brood and pout the entire time and destroy cities.
Nah. No, that's not
no.
Superman.
Yeah, no. I think I'm wrong. I think he just needs to be angry at everybody. I mean, like maybe begrudgingly, like saves a space capsule or something. Here's your fucking astronauts or whatever. I don't give a shit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. No, yes, obviously,
The
Christopher
human
Reeves
bill on
looks
a
like he's having
space
fun.
castle would suck.
Space capsule.
Capsule. Oh, there you go. That'd probably be better.
So
Yeah,
James,
Christopher Reeve does look like he's having a lot of fun being
yes.
Superman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and probably one of my favorite scenes in this movie, and it's such a little thing, is when he lands in the middle of Metropolis after Lex Luthor called him,
Oh yeah.
and he's about to do the spinny move, but like everybody's like, "Oh fuck, it's Superman, it's Superman!" And he goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, stand back, like he's going to do a magic trick."
Right.
Yeah.
There's nothing up my sleeve.
Fucking perfect. Like just like he's always performing. It's a show, and you want to love this guy. That's what makes Superman work. Is that you want to love like what he does, and if you don't love what he's doing, he's
Chris.
a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so
If you don't love what he's doing, he's the Superman from the new
yeah,
Superman movies.
which doesn't fucking work as a
Right.
movie.
Yeah.
So the last thing I'll say is that in the Donner Superman cut, everybody talks about, oh, well, he spun around the world and it reversed the thing because of tidal forces.
Reverse the polarity.
Which doesn't even work because there's no air in space and the whole thing's stupid. But the you miss in this cut is that Jor-El says that when he gets to Earth, there's a good chance that he can fly, and he might even be able to fly faster than the speed of light. But that's nobody knows for certain. Some scientists say yes, he can. Some scientists say he can't. What is true, though, is that it's very dangerous for him to try to do that, and it might also destroy the universe. And Jor-El says, I mean, this is what he says in the thing that they brought over. This is the only thing he brought over. Is as though even if he thinks he can do it, it's forbidden for him to interfere with human history. So you really shouldn't, like, basically the entire speech is don't cross the streams.
Yeah.
You know, this is the don't cross the streams moment.
That's what bothers me
I
the
looked in
most.
the
He
trap,
said
right?
he not to interfere with human history, but by putting himself in a position where he can enact so much change. That's all he's doing.
Well, exactly. Well, that's where the context is missing, because Jor-El is literally talking about only him traveling in the past and affecting human history.
Oh,
Yes.
see, that is a hell of a lot more
Descriptive.
Yeah, relevant.
That
Yep.
makes a lot more sense.
And
Yeah.
they cut all that out. So when Lois Lane dies, or
I love how you say
yeah,
Lewis.
he's been saying it the whole time, and I've
Yeah.
been waiting for you to get him on.
I
it.
always do that. Whatever the fuck. Who gives
Yeah.
a shit?
You know who else he always mispronounces?
Nice try, Eric.
Whoa! I thought I had you guys. We hadn't done one in a long time.
I knew. I knew, buddy.
Oh man! Oh, I thought I had you fucked. Oh, that was like perfect.
So, like, when I was watching the Donner cut and I finally understood what the fuck was going on, that moment took on a whole new meaning for me, because once again, it wasn't just about Superman had to become more powerful than he believed he was in order to actually save the day. And it was, it was like just a really inspiring moment to, like, oh, I can't cross the streams. I have to cross the streams. It's worth it just to try to save people. And that's, it's really inspiring. And then with Superman, when he's at his best, it's an inspiring show. So yeah, I fucking love this movie. I love it to death. It does have its detriments, though. Can you read my mind?
Yeah.
Seriously, that's in the Donner cut too. If they cut that out, I think this movie would be damn near perfect.
Well, probably not. But all right, so I watched this movie last night after my weekly trivia, where I had a few bevs, and I sat down to watch this movie at about, I'd say, like 11:30, and I tried to get all the way through this movie last night, and like I kind of did. But I also, like, for the last maybe like 45 minutes was just like kind of spaced out. So I had to rewatch it this evening when James came over. We watched it together.
We're making some jokes.
Right.
It's right for picking.
Yeah. Now there are some things that I really like about this movie and the Superman story in general. So the stakes that are like attached to Superman and his like whole story, like he's the last son of Krypton. He's being sent to this world to live, but also to make that world a better place. There were scenes in the beginning, like so like when Brando is talking, you can see him reading his cue card. I'm serious. I was ready for him to start reading out the lunch order that he was hearing over the PA. You know what I'm saying? Like Brando was phoning it in, but he's still like. You could ignore it because he did
some relatively good conviction.
Right. He lent a certain level of gravitas to the situation that it needed. So Brando was fine.
Although when Brando first showed up, I wasn't sure if it was Brando or Lauren Green. Because he looks exactly like Lauren Green from Galactica.
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
Yeah.
So once Superman makes it to Earth and he's growing up, and he's a teenager and he's like carrying the jocks for the football team, and he comes home and talks to Dad. He's like, "Dad, I could be scoring touchdowns, I could be hitting dingers," and Dad's like, "Look, I don't know." And Dad gives a great speech. He doesn't make it religious. He's just like, "Look, I don't know why you're here, but it's for a reason. Like, I don't know the reason, but you're here for a reason."
Right.
And that reason isn't to hit some dingers and to score some touchdowns. Right. Like, so I love that. Like, I really do. Like, because so part of my problem with some of the Avengers movies is I hold Captain America to this same standard where like he should be better than us. He should. He shouldn't be prey. He shouldn't fall victim to like the same kind of like petty bullshit that humans do. Like, and obviously Captain America is a human, but I don't know, whatever. Yeah. But Superman shouldn't have that kind of bullshit. Like, he should be striving for greatness with what he does, and they did that really well in this movie. Yeah, we talked about it before. I totally would. I would score all the touchdowns. I would hit all the dingers. But I want Superman to be better than me.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? He's supposed to be better than me.
Yeah,
like Superman is supposed to be conscientious. So like I made the joke while me and James were watching the movie. I was like, okay, so Superman. So like when the bomb goes off, and like California is about to start falling into the sea, he literally saves every life. Like, nobody dies from that. Nobody dies. Like, yeah. I don't know what I was getting at with that, but like,
I think it's important that he punch somebody and destroy a city while he's doing.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Like, I don't like the idea where Superman is like so like overcome with rage that he's not conscientious about like the consequences of his actions. Right. Like in this movie,
because when he becomes enraged, he flies straight up
out into space,
and that scene could be awfully cheesy, but it actually is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is. Yep. Yeah. So John, I was curious to hear what you thought about this movie, because I didn't necessarily know that this was something that you grew up on. I didn't know that this was your Star Wars, because this movie does have slow pacing. This movie has 70s pacing. It really does. Yep. I don't know. Does that affect your enjoyment level on repeated viewings for this movie?
I'll tell you this much. After doing this podcast for like almost for
it's like 2 years now,
2 years now, yeah, and beginning to analyze some of these movies in sort of a critical fashion,
it sucks.
I am a lot less forgiving of this movie than had you asked me that same question, say, even 5 years ago.
Yeah.
However, what happened to Chris is what happens to me every time somebody tries to get me to watch Star Wars.
Right. Okay, so you're talking about there being some problems in this movie, and me and James, when we were watching it, identified a few things. Like, you'll believe a man can fly, but some things about this movie can't fly anymore.
They do a lot of things to a lot of unconscious people in this movie.
There's a lot of like groping or kissing or like whatever on unconscious people, and Lex's girlfriend. When she kisses Superman before taking the kryptonite off him, and Superman's like, "Why'd you kiss me?" And she's like, "I didn't think you'd let me after I take the kryptonite off." He's like, "Oh." And I'm like, oh.
Well, see ya.
It's like,
you're right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so there were a couple of scenes like that were...
Lois Lane, she's finally dead. Yeah. Kiss some of those lips.
Yeah, he does. He kisses dead Lois. That's a little weird, but I mean, it's just part of his process to getting enraged enough to spin the Earth back on its rotation.
If it wasn't for the other two scenes, it would, we'd look past it. But after that being the third time, it's like,
yeah. Overall, I would say the movie is... Oh, another thing this movie has going for it, and it's going really well for it, is that when this movie is done telling you the story that this movie is telling you, the movie ends.
Yeah.
Yes.
like when he drops
Lex Luthor.
When he drops Lex Luthor off of the penitentiary, and Lex Luthor's like, "I'm the most ruthless criminal in the world," which really doesn't seem like something Lex Luthor would say, like this Lex Luthor would say. I don't know.
Yeah. Let's see. I'll say this. Lex Luthor has been a lot of things throughout the years, from his beginning incarnation to now.
Mm.
I mean, when he was first invented, he was a mad scientist.
Okay.
Just a general death ray. I'm going to build a death ray and destroy a city, mad scientist. He's gone from that to bank robber to, execute. At one point in time, he was really fat, 300 pounds. Mm. And he looked like Kingpin.
He was president of the United States.
He was president of the United States for a little while there. So it was really only until the 90s that the established cold, methodical, perfect Lex Luthor got invented.
Okay.
So they were still kind of dabbling with this character. They knew he was bald and that he was Superman's number one bad guy. And that was pretty much all that was established at this time.
Yeah. Yeah, so that being said, Gene Hackman has real charm. He's really good in this movie. He delivers some good, funny lines.
Come in, the door's open.
yeah. Superman breaks down the door. Come in, it's open. Yeah, Gene Hackman's never not great. So it shouldn't be surprised that he's great in this movie, and he is. Now, so I didn't have a ton to say. Ultimately, I liked the movie. Okay, so the 10,000% the best thing about this movie is the score. It really is. Trying to watch this movie, if you watch this movie with just a regular old movie score, nothing that happens in this movie plays as well as it does when there's the John Williams score behind it, because that is the best thing about this movie, I think. I really do. So the second best thing is Christopher Reeve gets Superman 100% correct.
Yeah.
He's 100% correct. This is Superman. This is who it is.
Yep.
So yeah, those things are good. The movie has pacing issues, and it has some plausibility issues, and it has some plot holes, but those things aren't deal breakers. This is still a good movie. And if you're me, I think I had watched this movie before, but I didn't pay super close attention to it. If you want to revisit this movie, you can do it. This movie does hold up. This is a good movie. It's worth watching. So the last thing I'll say is, I was reading the Wikipedia article about the ideas that they had for casting Superman. And the first person that they approached was Robert Redford, but he felt he was too famous for the part. Burt Reynolds turned down the role.
He'd have to shave his mustache.
Sylvester Stallone was approached for the role.
Really?
Yes. Paul Newman was offered his choice of roles between Superman, Lex, or Jor-El, and he turned down all three.
Paul Newman would have been interesting.
Paul Newman would have been a really good Lex.
Yeah.
Because he's clever, like a fox kind of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He could have been the modern Lex.
Neil Diamond and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Neil fucking Diamond.
What?
Lobbied hard for the role of Superman. Then the studio approached James Caan.
Wow.
James Brolin. Christopher Walken.
Hey, I'm Superman.
Nick Nolte. John Voight, Chris Christopherson, and Charles Bronson.
Chris Christopherson?
Yeah.
That man is a wire hanger.
So, okay. So, they were so close to getting all this so wrong. Because really, the best thing about just watching this movie and, other than the score, is how perfect Christopher Reeve is as Superman.
Hey, Lois Lane. Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, hi, Lois. I'm Kal-El.
I'm from the planet
I'm from the
Krypton.
planet Krypton. That's why I have this fucked up accent.
Oh my god, I realized something earlier today. So you know how they're making jokes about Lois not being able to spell correctly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The entire reason that is in there is so when Superman's talking to her and he goes, well, actually, I'm from the planet Krypton. And she goes, so that's CRI? It's so that Superman can spell Krypton.
Oh.
It's
But
not
still.
crucial to know that she sucks at spelling.
Well, and how'd you know how to spell a made-up thing?
Right.
Yeah.
But anyway,
So I liked the movie. I did. I liked it.
Mhm.
It is slow. You will look at your phone. I'm serious. I'm
No,
sorry.
you're not wrong.
That should be
Right.
a new gauge. This movie is maybe a 23 looks at my phone throughout.
like I
Yeah.
said, it's crushing it. In that you want to play Candy Crush while you're watching the movie.
Yeah, so you will look at your phone while this movie's on, but you will not be mad that you watched this movie at all.
Yeah. We gotta, of course, go to the one thing that we said was we were watching it. A little joke.
What's
You
that?
know, when, like Superman lands after the earthquake, and
Uh-huh.
Lois is giving them a bit. Oh, your car's not working, huh? You know, you've got to put gas in these things.
Yeah,
Yeah, Superman splaining.
yeah, it's called Superman splaining.
Very clever.
You know, you guys, you can't really fly a jet with just one engine.
I know you ladies, you think you're good pilots, but
You're gonna need more than one engine on this. I just hope you know.
Yeah.
Look, Lois, I know, I guess you could say this isn't your fault, but you really shouldn't park your car on active fault lines. I guess maybe it's just that time of the month or something.
Oh, terrible. Terrible.
Well, since it took her the first time, I guess that was her fault.
Oh my god. That is...
Yes, that's super mansplaining.
Well, you know what? Let me tie us up, and then we're going to take a quick break. I have to say, I'm shocked at the responses from you guys. I mean, the one that I got from James, I kind of expected, which was, rambling and totally off point.
incoherent.
Yeah.
Talking about a movie that we didn't watch.
Exactly. Chris, I was actually a little surprised how much you hated this movie. And
I'm surprised how
Eric,
much he liked it.
and Eric, I'm surprised how fair you were to it. So, honestly, I think anybody who's listening to this podcast is going to pull a lot of great opinions from it, and ultimately you're going to come to your own conclusion. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is our review of Superman the movie, so we are going to take a short break, and when we return, we're going to be back with the game.
Woo!
Hey.
Yeah.
Are people taking you too seriously at work? Are all your conversations bland and tasteless? Do people run away when you approach the water cooler? Just get yourself a Tally-Ho mug from the John Hates Movies store, and people will instantly recognize that you are one badass dude.
Tally-Ho is copyright Eric Largent 2015. All others saying Tally-Ho are imitating Eric Largent. Do not make Tally-Ho your thing. That is Eric's thing. But please buy a mug.
Get yours today!
Welcome back, everybody. It is now time for your favorite part and mine. It is time for the game. That's right. And as is John Hates Movies tradition, the person who picked the movie gets to come up with the game.
Sucker.
I know. And that is me.
I'm naming your lamps Phil.
Thank you. Name my
Jimmy Lampson.
name my desk.
Dirk the desk.
Name my can of soda. All right,
Mr.
so no,
Pibb.
we're not. So no, we are not going to play. John picks random things in his room and makes people name it. Although that would be pretty funny. And actually, it's probably better than what I do have. which is as follows.
Mr. Pibb.
Now, you know what?
No. Just let's play you.
It's for.
We can pull the
really...
ripcord if it doesn't work.
All right. If it doesn't work, I actually really like the idea of naming my shit. I really like that idea. All right. Okay, so let me tell you what the guys. We can edit this, cut this.
Okay.
But what I was thinking about doing is having you guys create your own superhero for each of the standard comic book years or comic book ages. But I'm thinking that's not anywhere near as funny.
Hard too, because I'm just not familiar enough.
I like name my shit. All right. So,
Judd's pulling the ripcord.
I'm pulling the ripcord because the game I had is lame, and the joke game that the guys made for me because I really suck at this is a better game than what I have. So we're playing Name My Shit.
Yay! I mean, Lois named him Superman, so we're gonna name your shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yes, that's the logic that ties the game to the movie.
All
At
right.
least we're more liable to be able to spell it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So I am going
How
to.
many P's of rapist? Rapist the desk.
So I'm going to look around my room and I'm going to pick things that are in my room, and then you guys have to name them.
Okay.
Everybody gets a chance to name the thing. So let's start off with Name My Cat.
Spot.
Eric. Oh, Chris Spot. Okay.
Mr. Spock.
Mr. Spock. James?
Ron.
James wins round 1.
Ron.
Ron the cat. Come on, Ron.
Okay.
No, me and Ron were just hanging out all weekend. That's why you got to give your animals real names,
Okay.
so you don't look so sad and lonely.
All right. So, name my phone. Chris, name my phone.
Kenny Loggins.
Ooh. Eric, name my phone.
My quietest companion.
Ouch. It's more of a pet name.
Because nobody calls it.
Oh, we got it. We
got it. James.
Mr. Ringle Dingles.
Chris wins that one. Because my phone is footloose. All right. Name my lamp. Chris, name my lamp.
Didn't I name it Phil or something? What did I name it? I'll go with Phil.
All right.
Philip P. Lamp.
Philip P. Lamp. Okay. Eric, name my lamp.
The worst kisser in my office.
So his lamp is Hot Lips Houlihan.
Eric wins round 2.
James didn't even get to go.
Okay. Everybody's tied for first place or last place, depending on how you look at it.
We're all losers. Yay!
All right. Chris, name my pirate flag.
Stabby? Or should it be Stubby?
Okay.
Stubby the pirate flag.
Okay, Stubby the pirate flag.
He hoists it, but not very high.
Eric, name my pirate flag.
Patches Barrup.
Damn it.
James, name my pirate flag.
The Raleigh Juggler.
Eric wins round 3. Okay, I think we'll do 2 more rounds unless there's and if there's not a clear winner by then there'll be a super round.
Okay.
Yeah.
James, not James.
Everybody.
Everybody, name my soda. Chris, name my soda.
Aren't you gonna go there?
It will be known as the Frothy Monster.
Eric, name my soda.
Jonathan Barrup's dank meme can.
James, name my soda.
I thought that. I didn't
Dr. Pip, he got his degree.
Chris, I'm gonna give it to you.
It's a frothy monster.
Yes. I liked it. I liked the frothy monster. Name my end table. This one's serious business, guys.
Okay.
Name my end table. Chris,
Is it which side of you is it on?
It's on my left side.
Obviously lefty. I was going to go with lefty anyway. That was in my head before you said it. I must have known. It's on your left, lefty. Not to be left alone.
Bartholomew Lagavulin Chantrix III. Going fancy. It might be a fancy end table.
John, your table is named after the man that killed it. It's called Colin McMillan.
Eric wins that round, and consequently wins the game.
Wait, I won?
Eric, Chris in second place, and James in last place with 1 point. So, congratulations, Eric! You have won the game. Tell us, what are
this
we
is like
watching
the first
next week?
time in John Hates Movies history that somebody's won the game twice in a row.
Well, people don't usually give up their choice.
Well, he was being nice,
Yes.
and I appreciate it.
All right, guys, you know what we're gonna watch next week?
What?
We're gonna watch a movie that I watched fucking back in 1995 when it came out. It's a movie where you got kids like hiding salamis in their bedposts and shit like that.
God.
We're watching Heavyweights.
Oh,
We got a
yeah!
fucking blob that fat kids jump on blobs and shit like that.
You talked about fat kids hiding salami, so I was wondering where we were going with that. I was wondering about your
Wasn't it
childhood.
sounded? Yeah, his childhood.
It's not that kind of summer camp movie.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. We are going to be returning next week with Heavyweights.
Oh my god! It's a flop.
Oh, God. Just, I can't take much more of this. Good night, everybody. Good night.
All right, cool.
A great big thank you to our staff graphic artist, Tabby Walters, the Weekly Cast, and our listeners. You can listen to our podcast on iTunes, the Stitcher app, through YouTube, or directly on our website. Feel free to send us a movie review suggestion. Every third episode is Listener Appreciation, where we choose from your suggestions. You can reach us through social media, either by liking our Facebook page, John Hates Movies YouTube channel, or following our Twitter at John Hates Movies. Our music was composed by Kevin MacLeod. You can find this track and many more on his website, incompetech.com. Thanks for listening, and tune in next week to hear someone say...
Not to get on the subject of, Superman's orgasms or anything, but